Well, hello, everyone. It's Tracy broadcasting live from New Hampshire Writers Project. I hope you are having a great day. I'm here today with Laura Knoy. How are you, Laura?
I'm great, Tracy. It's nice to be with you.
Thank you. I'm glad you could join us today for a chat. I know we've got a lot of things to talk about today. And first, I just want to let people know a little bit about you in case they're not familiar. Laura is the former host of NH Public Radio's The Exchange. You might be familiar with her there. She is also an award winning journalist, the New Hampshire podcast host of ReadLocalNH. She's also a New Hampshire Writers Project advisory board member, which we appreciate very much. And most recently, she is the author of The Shopkeeper of Alsace. So I am really interested in talking with you today to learn a little bit more about this amazing journey, as well as talk to people about the 603 Writers Conference, because I know you will be a judge for this year's pitch party. And since you already have a book out yourself, I know you know all about pitches, and hopefully you can lend some tips and some insight to those thinking of, participating in the pitch party.
Yeah, I made that face because it took me a long time to get my publisher, but I got there. So yes.
Good. Well, Laura, tell us a little bit about, your journey and how you went from, a radio show host to a journalist to, now a fiction novelist.
Right. Well, so as you said in your introduction, and thank you for that, I was host of New Hampshire Public Radio's live daily call-in program, The Exchange, for 25 years. And before that, I was at National Public Radio as a newscaster and freelance reporter. And before that, I was at the local NPR station in DC. So I spent my whole career talking to people and telling stories. And so in a way, the switch to fiction, Tracy, wasn't, in many ways, it wasn't that big a switch. I'm still telling stories. I'm still using the best words possible to tell those stories. I'm still communicating ideas and emotions with people. I always used to say, and still say, that the best writers write for radio because you only get one shot. Now, this is a long time ago, but in newspapers, if I don't write something clearly, you can go back and reread it. And on TV, you have pictures to support it. But in radio, you've got to get people with the right words right away or you'll lose them. So I do feel like my career in radio helped me a lot when it came to writing fiction. But it didn't help with everything. I mean, in journalism, we're taught to give people just the facts and they are allowed to make up their own minds. And we're not supposed to speculate on what people might have said or might have thought, So the first couple dozen drafts of my novel.
Well, I'm sure you have quite the journey you've gone through.
Yes.
I've heard stories of people who've received over 100 rejections, to get where they are. And I know you'll give us some great tips on that. But I'd love to learn a little bit more about the story behind The Shopkeeper of Alsace. I know it takes place during World War II.
Right. It spans World War I all the way to World War II. So it's mostly a World War II novel, but it really covers all those years from 1915 to 1945. And I think that's cool because a lot of novels in this genre, they start when, Germany invades Poland, or they start when, the Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor. They start at those crucial moments, which is great. But there are so many connections between the First World War and the Second World War. And I happened to find a real life heroine named Sarah, who was a teenage girl in Poland during World War I. And then after that war ended, she immigrated to France, like a bunch of people from Eastern Europe, and lived sort of the perfect French life for about 20 years. And then World War II hits. So, but she learned survival lessons in World War I and uses those lessons in World War II to do her best to protect her family. So it's I know the words like sweeping saga are overused, but because it covers that long period of time, and I would argue, Tracy, that critical period of time, because there's a lot of connections between those world wars that are, very much overlooked, I think, by American audiences. So that's something cool that I like about this book, is that it really brings that dramatic period together.
Well, and didn't you spend some time in France as well to do some research on this novel, which must have been fascinating?
It was so painful to be there doing research.
I know the things we have to do to
It
put
was
out.
awful. Yeah, so I met so my heroine's name is Sarah. Very much, 85% of the stuff in the novel is really happened. It's her true story. I was friends with her daughter. So I met her daughter when I lived in France in the mid 1980s. So I was in my 20s, and Annette, who's in the book, who you meet in the book, was in her 50s. And one weekend, the program I was on organized a weekend in the country for the girls on the program. And we got paired with a family for the weekend, and I got paired with Annette. And we became lifelong friends. And this book is her family's story, her family's very true story, with her mother as the heroine.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a deep personal connection. Often historical fiction, most of the time, it's based on a real person or an amalgam of real people. But this book, like 85% of the stuff really happened, and Sarah did it. I mean, she was amazing.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, if you are just joining us, we are talking with Laura Knoy, who is the author of The Shopkeeper of Alsace. And she is also a judge on this year's 603 Writers Conference Pitch Party, which we're going to learn a little bit more about. So stay with us. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to comment on the stream that you're watching, and we will make sure Laura gets them for you. So, Laura, I read one of the reviewers who did review this novel recently said it's the best World War II novel they have read.
Oh, I need to be in touch with that person.
How do you respond to that? That's pretty good for your first novel.
Yeah, wow. And both my parents are no longer alive, so I know it wasn't them. I'm wondering who that was. Please have that person be in touch with me. Listen,
well, it sounds like there's some just, it's just so rich. It's like people can really truly picture themselves in and amongst this story that you're telling.
Well, I really appreciate that comment. I read, sleep, breathe World War I, World War II historical fiction in France, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So there are a lot of great books out there besides mine. But I will say that what makes this book different, in addition to the ambitious time frame that most books don't tackle, is Alsace. So I always joke with audiences, Tracy, about this. Most, not all, but most World War II books about France take place in Paris. And they put an Eiffel Tower on the cover, and you're sold. So before I gave a book talk earlier this year, one of the many talks that I've given, I just went on Amazon and I just, put in top 20 World War II books in France. So, do I have this? Oh, it's so funny.
So you mean you researched your competition before?
No. This is just recently. This is just recently.
Say, that's really
yeah. No. Oh, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Hang on. So, in addition to the fact that, the time period is broader and more ambitious, the bulk of these books, some of them take place in Normandy because Americans have a connection with there, and some of them take place in southern France. But I have read so many of these books, and I've never read a single one that takes place in Alsace, which is a province in eastern France, right on the German border, and went back and forth between Germany and France. I can give you how many times, let's just say many times over the years. So I looked up, top World War II fiction in France. And here's what I got, Tracy. Out of 20 books, and I'm not going to read I'm going to put in a blank for the keyword, because I'm not picking on these books. I've read half of them and I love them. The Paris blank, the Paris blank, Paris in the blank, until the blank in Paris, the forgotten blank of Paris, blank in Paris, lost blank in Paris, the blank of resistance, but the Eiffel Tower is in the back, blank France, Eiffel Tower, the lady of the blank, Eiffel Tower. So half of the books that came up take place in Paris. Wow. My book takes place in Alsace, which is, I experienced the war uniquely. And in the English-speaking world anyway, I don't want to say no one is writing about this, but I have not found anybody writing historical fiction about Alsace. So that's what makes this so different.
I agree. Oh, I love that. And we've got some comments here too. We've got someone who says, "Oh, wow, this does sound really great." And now I assume, Laura, people can find your book on Amazon and in local bookstores. And
yes. And if you go on my website, lauraknoy.com, I've got all the local bookstores that are carrying, most of the bookstores in New Hampshire are carrying it.
Perfect.
Amazon, of course, Barnes and Noble, bookshop.org. Tracy, I think we should try to plug them because it's like Amazon, but it supports local bookstores. So
wonderful.
Yeah, you can get anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And let's see, Janet says, what did you study after high school to prepare you for radio and then for writing? Any suggestions for those of us who didn't grow up as journalists, radio hosts, or writers?
Oh, wow. So, okay, two-part question. So I studied international affairs at George Washington University. So that was an amalgam of foreign languages, history, political science, economics. It was a really good broad degree. I did not get a journalism degree. Maybe nowadays you need one. I don't know, but that was a really good background for me to go into journalism because you get a little bit of everything. Advice, I mean, gosh, mine is as worth as much as the next person. I guess I would just say, like, read widely, fiction, nonfiction, magazines, newspapers. Yeah, I know that's not very specific, but
well, and travel. I mean, obviously your time in France is what started this whole journey for you.
Yes, that's right. And yeah, I guess if you have the opportunity to go somewhere new or meet someone new, just do it. Because honestly, if I hadn't done this program in France, I would have never written this book. And this book has just opened up my life. Like, I've met so many amazing people and I've done so many incredible things because of this book, even though the journey was, long and extremely painful to getting published.
Yes,
that's
which we're going to get into, which I'm ready to learn from you about. But Janet also said that she misses you on NPR.
It's so sweet.
Which we all do, of course. You were
it's so nice.
The exchange, and we appreciate your time there.
Thank you.
Let's see. Margaret is tuning in as well. She says the early drafts of this novel were fine, but the final version is truly outstanding. So excited for Laura and really proud of her tenacity.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, tenacity. You needed tenacity, but
yeah. And it sounds like Margaret was part of your journey.
Yes, she was. Yes, namaste. Yes.
Another New Hampshire Writers Project member.
She read many rough early drafts, and Margaret actually is my fairy godmother. The book has 3 fairy godmothers, women who just looked at early stuff, gave me criticism, took my weepy phone calls, told me to keep going, like, don't give up. Yep. So there's 3 fairy godmothers, and Margaret's one of them. And my former senior producer on the Exchange, Ellen Grimm, is the second. And then the last fairy godmother is a journalist and just crackerjack podcaster named Suzanne Rico. And I thank her in the book. I call her Mean Suzanne because she just, she gave me what I needed to the end.
You need people who are going to tell you what you need to hear, and make you better. So
yeah, but Margaret is she's my fairy godmother. Yep.
I love how you refer to them as fairy godmothers.
Yep.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit if we could, Laura, because I know you've been a longtime board member for the New Hampshire advisory board member for the New Hampshire Writers Project. You were at last year's 603 conference. I believe you were the moderator for the pitch party. And this year you're going to be a judge. So obviously you've had a lot of experience with the pitch party for the 603 Writers Conference and also going through the process for yourself. Could you, give a little bit of a description to people to authors and writers who are attending the 603 Writers Conference about what the pitch party is and what they can expect?
Sure. Yeah. I think this is my at least 3rd, if not 4th time participating in the pitch party, but the first time as a judge. So that's pretty exciting. I would encourage people to send their pitches to the pitch party. What happens is anyone can send their pitch in, and I think you've had it on the screen, Tracy, that submissions are open until the 30th, which is, so you still have time.
Correct.
And then I believe 5 will be selected. Yep. And then the pitch will be read. last year I read them. Mike Moran's going to read them this year, another former radio person, because we love microphones and we like to talk on microphones. So that's why Mashri asks us to do it. So Mike will read it, and then he'll get our opinions as judges, and we as judges will ask the person whose submission we're reading, a couple questions, and we might make comments too, gentle critiques about how they might sharpen it, clarify it, hone it. I really encourage everyone to submit their pitches. It's a very competitive process, but honestly, that rejection makes you better. Like if you get, your best friend to read your pitch and he or she says it's great, that's not enough,
Right.
So,
well, and you'll be there as a judge. We have
Yeah.
a literary agent who's going to be there as well, Maggie Cooper.
Great.
Our keynote, Chris Bojalian, will also be a judge for the pitch party. So why would you not, with this, outstanding star-studded cast of pitch party judges, why would you not submit? And it doesn't cost anything additional. You obviously have to be attending the 603 Writers Conference to be considered. But pitches are being accepted until May 30th. You can find all the details for that on our website on the conference landing page. You will send an email to submissions@nhwritersproject.org, and you will hear back. As Laura said, there will be 5 that are chosen, and those people will be read by Mike to the judges for wonderful feedback. Even if you don't win, like you said, just the feedback alone that you get can really be life-changing.
It's so worth it. I mean, it's so scary getting up there and defending your pitch before this panel of judges. But I mean, that's what's you just have to get out there and put your book out there and get criticized and then get back to your keyboard, Well,
and see, you got to push outside your comfort zone to learn and to expand and grow. And I imagine that's much, what you experience too. So maybe if you want to talk to us a little bit about the pitch process you went through and any tips or ideas, resources that you could share with anybody who is considering submitting their pitch as well.
Well, I mean, I would say get lots and lots and lots of feedback. And I got tons of feedback on all the pitches that I, put out over the years. Margaret, again, fairy godmother, was one of the first ones to help me hone my pitch. James Patrick Kelly, I sent him a pitch early on, and boy, he told me that it was not good, and that's okay. I had to make it better. He didn't say it's not good, but he said this reads like which was true. He said it reads like a piece of, history, and it's a novel. It's not a nonfiction piece of history. It's not a history book. It's not a radio piece. It's a novel. So make me care about the people. So Margaret was hugely helpful early on. James was helpful early on. And then, as I went on and on, I went to a lot of conferences when I was trying to get this book traditionally published. Not a lot of conferences, but I went to several. And as part of those conferences, you often are allowed to submit your stuff to an editor, to an agent. So I got lots of feedback there. I took advantage of whatever free feedback I could get. There's various online courses and so forth. I was just constantly asking for feedback. I mean, my pitch evolved so many times over the years. I don't even know how many times it evolved. So, yeah. So I guess even if you don't, win, which, you probably won't because only one person does, but you win anyway because of the feedback.
Correct.
And if you do win, you get, I think there's a cash prize,
but you $250. Yep.
You get bragging rights. That's really what it's all about. So yeah, do it. Just do it.
Well, and I kind of feel like it's the Shark Tank of the literary industry, because even if you don't get a deal, that value that you're getting back from people who have been there and done that is just so critical to your learning and growing process. So I really, it's such a competitive process, and it's one of the features of the 603 Writers Conference that is, such a big draw, being able to not only be a part of it, but also, if you're sitting in the audience and you did not submit a pitch, just all the things that you learn from being a part of that process is quite amazing.
Right. And speaking of NHWP too, you asked sort of what it means to me. Like, I mentioned Margaret Porter and James Patrick Kelly, but also Robert Wheeler helped me with my pitch later in the process. Masherie, she's so busy. I didn't send her my pitch, but just, I could call her when I was feeling like, why should I, everybody's rejecting me. Wah. And she just, stay in there. Like NHWP has been hugely helpful for the support and advice.
We love to be everybody's cheerleader.
Yay.
We definitely do.
Cheerleader, but critic. Like
absolutely. Yes.
It's not helpful if people say, this is great, go submit it to the top literary agent in the country.
We want people to learn. We want them to grow.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, we've got a few more comments here for you. Let's see.
Great.
So Joseph is wondering, will your book be available for purchase at the NHWP conference?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay.
And Mother's Day is coming. Oh no. By the time it comes, Mother's Day is gone. Anyway, Father's Day is coming.
That's
Books
true.
make great gifts.
Yes. Let's see. Yes. What is the pitch party? I'll be at the 603 conference too. So you probably got all the information now, but if you do have any additional questions, there is more information on our website at nhwritersproject.org. Just follow the imagery that'll guide you to the landing page for the conference, and all that should be answered. And there's a contact email there as well. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out to us. And let's see, we send in a written pitch, blurb, storyline. What should it be? How much should it be? Again, all that information's on our website.
Right. It's very clear what the requirements are.
Exactly. Yep. And again, if you have any questions at all, you can always reach out to us. You've got plenty of time. It's not due until May 30th. And then Tracy says, do you need a finished manuscript for the pitch party, or is it proof of concept? You do not need a you do not need a finished manuscript. You can be in any stage of writing or publishing. This is a learning process. You could be pitching an idea. You could be pitching your first novel. You could be pitching a second novel. It's just about the pitch. So it's an opportunity for you to just push outside your comfort zone and learn something new. And then let's see, will any of this be recorded? So if you're talking about the New Hampshire Writers Project Conference, that will not be recorded. Those are all in live, so you would need to attend that in person. This live broadcast that we're doing right now is recorded and will live on our website for 30 days and on YouTube forever. So you can come back to this as a resource to learn from Laura if you are considering submitting a pitch. So fantastic information, fantastic questions. Before we leave, Laura, is there any other parting words of wisdom you could leave us with?
Oh, gosh. Just stick with it. Just don't give up. And the criticism is really hard, but it also helps. I got more than 60 rejections for my novel from various literary agents and publishers. And, it was horrible and it hurt, but each time I got rejected, I had to be honest. Okay, what's not working? What's not working? What's not working? And as time went on, I started getting more interest and more positive feedback, and, this is good. Maybe we'll get back to you. You know what I mean? So I always say, as time went on, the rejections got nicer. And eventually, by the time I got my contract with my small independent traditional publisher, I was also in discussion with 2 other small independent publishers.
Very
so
nice.
So I got rejected at least 60 times. I stopped counting, Tracy, after about 55. But it's at least 60. But that's what's going to make it better. That's what's going to make it better. So hang in there. That's my advice. Hang in there.
Well, official congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You should be very proud of your accomplishments. Huge kudos. And thank you for sharing your journey with us today, and for telling us a little bit about your book and your experience visiting in France. And we look forward to seeing you at the New Hampshire Writers Project on June 13th.
See you at the 603.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today and for your questions. We appreciate it. Have a fantastic day.